Hello guys and welcome to the review portion of the mini-series. I was wondering if I should do a review, but since it is 3 episodes, I just it is worth talking about it. This is of course about Touken Ranbu. You might have heard of it from it. If you haven't watched the series, I did do 3 videos on it. Basically a week of playing the game, going over some of the mechanics and how I think the game generally is. Um, so I played the game casually for 7 days and I have 3 videos to show for it. So if you're interested in that, it's on the channel. If you're wondering what Touken Ranbu is, it is a browser game from Japan. It's sort of the same style as Cantoli, where it's more of a army grinding, I don't know, army management grinder strategic game, I guess. You definitely grind. It's a grinder for craft essences, and it's a gacha game, kind of. And I think it was pretty great. I think I've said in my videos that if I do play a grinder nowadays, I would rather play a gear grinder just because it's more exciting to get good gear, more fulfilling for me personally. But if I discovered this game like a couple 5-6 years ago when I used to play like Fate Grand Order and similar very grindy games, I could definitely see myself playing this like crazy. So first of just some basic stuff, the game has a very active community. Actually, I haven't checked the Reddit. I'm assuming, even if it's not big, it's the, I believe, 5th biggest game on DMM, which is a large gaming platform for Japanese games. So at least the general audience is pretty big. So you wouldn't have to worry about the game dying or anything, which is good. The Ranbu Reddit isn't too big, but there's a Discord and the wiki seems to be updated a lot. So yeah, big player base, which is good. One note is it is a pretty important note that you have to it is region locked, so you'd have to use a VPN if you do not currently live into Japan to play, and it is not translated, it is fully Japanese, but the wiki is an excellent source of information. And if you really do want to try this out and willing to take an extra step, just have the wiki open in another tab. It is very, very easy. My first video was kind of confusing because it is overwhelming, but it literally took me like 2 play sessions, 2 days, 2 play sessions to figure out basically how the whole game is. It is incredibly free to play, which is very impressive. I think I didn't really look at the shop too much since I don't understand it, but basically I saw craft materials, which sounds like a horrible buy, and some other stuff, so which I'm assuming is buffs or whatever. So for the free-to-play player, you shouldn't have a problem playing it. It is the only gacha game I've seen that does not require stamina. Azure Lane had oil, which isn't stamina, kind of, because you can stack it really high. But yeah, it is incredibly free to play, which is usually a plus. And I don't know how efficient it is to whale. You'd have to look that up more because I didn't really have any interest in that. But yeah, free to play is good. It is like almost a permadeath, like hardcore gacha game, because you can lose your equipment is basically troops in this game. So those are like break on kill, and your actual sword boys, who are your characters that you pull for, can break on kill. So it is it is kind of spooky losing it, but that's why it's free to play, like very free to play, because of the risk of losing it. Because obviously if this was a heavy normal gacha game where you can spend like 50 to 100 on good rates, a lot more than that for a character, and then just to die to like a high level boss would be pretty rough. Also, I've only played the campaign and the general stuff. I haven't seen events, so I'm not sure 100% how that one works. As for the gacha themselves, the pulls seemed pretty fine. I basically pulled for 6 days and I hit a lot of 10%ers for drop rates, so I was pretty lucky. But 10% drop rates on pulls, which you can probably pull 4 times daily, 4 to 6 times daily if you don't use your troops, is pretty good. Like, there's no premium gacha, you just have to put more craft materials into it. It's, again, like Azure Lane where you have different craft materials. Actually, I don't know. Azure Lane you pull through banners, but this one you just put different craft materials and you get different sorts of swords. So it's very, very affordable. So I think that's definitely a high point of the game. The combat itself is sort of lackluster. It is just... It's different phases. I guess choosing the position is kind of cool, but you usually just choose the favorable one if you just scout it. So I guess it's not that interactive, and the battle is just RNG. I mean, if you have... Yeah, it's just RNG, so you might just get cheesed. I think the game is more about making yourself super strong so that you won't. So even if the battle goes wrong, you can still win it. Like it's more of a preparation game. Art-wise, it looks pretty good. I think a lot of gacha games do have. I think this one is maybe 2 or 3 different artists working on it. There's a lot of characters have similar art styles, which is fine. Some games have a lot of different artists. Some games have minimum. This is pretty minimum. I do think that the interface of the game looks pretty dated. It looks extremely like blah. It looks a little blah. But that's alright. It's as long as everything else looks smooth, which it does. It's just the menus and the opening stuff looks a little cheap. And since it is such a popular game, like not just player based, but I've said before that it has 3 anime adaptations, which is where you might have heard of it from before, but it has a couple musical, a couple theatrical stuff. This is extremely popular, so I wouldn't mind seeing a rehaul of the interface. I'm sure they're rolling in though, but maybe not since it's so free to play. But yeah, art style is good. Cashew is my favorite out of them, but lots of cool ones, some cute ones, probably something for everyone. We talked about combat, we talked about prep. Replayability is pretty okay. Like I said, you're mainly just gonna be grinding stuff, making your guys really strong. Min-maxing your troops. Maxing stats seems pretty easy. It's just, I can definitely see it lasting a while. I don't know how the end game is like since I only played for a week, but for a casual player, like I said, minimum maybe 30 minutes a day, which is pretty good. I played 30 to an hour depending on how much I was into it, but it is definitely accessible for casuals because there's definitely some gacha games like Fate. Though I mean, this event grinding might be going hard anyways, but like Epic 7 was definitely something you needed to do dailies for every day, and that took at least, I don't remember, at least an hour, maybe even 2 to do all your dailies. So this one's very, very easy to play, and if your VPN doesn't slow you down too much, it's definitely something you can just play in the background since it's not very macro dependent. You literally just click, roll dice, and move on the map sometimes. So yeah, I think this is a very fun game. Maybe not my style at the moment, but it definitely would have been back then. And I mean, story-wise, I don't know since it's in Japanese, and there wasn't really any cutscenes, so I didn't have any indication of what was actually going on. But if you really enjoy the game anyways, I guess you could just watch one of the anime adaptations. So yeah, solid game. It was a fun experience. playing a Japanese multiplayer gacha game. Kind of did have that itch. Yeah, good times. Like I said, if you just watched this review and you want to check out any of the gameplay, you can check out the 3 other videos. Some of them are long explaining stuff, but you can just skip around and you can see the general combat stuff. It is, and you can try it for yourself. Again, it is free to play. You just need some sort of VPN, or if you're living in Japan, you don't have to. And if you're interested in other gacha stuff, it is a possibility. I am considering some of them, but they're not ever gonna be like really scheduled. I don't know. We'll think about the miniseries. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you later, hopefully. Thanks for watching. Bye.